we just found out that Jon Bones Jones has officially vacated the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. That's right, Jon Jones, after yet another dominant run. What is this, his second or third dominant run as heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion? He has officially vacated the title. He confirmed this on Twitter. He said that he will stay in the USADA testing pool, that he couldn't come to negotiations with UFC. Of course, he teased once again fighting at heavyweight on the weekend during the UFC 252 matchup with Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, of course, retired. I personally think Jon Jones will come back. I think it does look really bad that UFC is not paying him what he wants in order to fight at heavyweight or fight next. Look, you say what you want about Jon Jones and his transgressions. I've said a whole lot over the years, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's never really been punished for a lot of things he's done, whether it be legally or through USADA. But make no mistake about it, he's the greatest, PDs or not, he is the greatest fighter in the history of the promotion. And I just don't understand how he could just let the greatest fighter in the history of the promotion just walk, right? But UFC is in a very favorable position because they have an ESPN deal where they get a guarantee no matter what, which means that they get a set guarantee as long as they run shows, and whatever they get on pay-per-view, especially if it does really well, is just a bonus on top of that, on top of merch, on top of the video game, on top of everything else they got going on social media, YouTube revenue. So they're in a really favorable position right now. And if you really think about it, right, you got Adesanya versus Costa, which will be a hell of a fight. Maybe it'll draw, considering the fact that UFC's been doing well overall, and Israel Adesanya now kind of starting to transcend to the mainstream with the EA Sports video game cover. And then, of course, you got Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson reportedly did around 700,000 buys on ESPN Plus alone, and that's not counting international buys. That's pretty freaking incredible. So for the next couple of months, I think they're doing all right. And hey, they could do Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, but you know, in a way though, I do think Jon Jones, even if he's going to be absent from UFC for a while, maybe forever, I don't know, I don't think forever, but let's just say for a while, I think he still screws him over. Some people might say, well, he's missing out on a payday, he's losing his title, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But if he saved his money, if he's doing his thing, if, knock on wood, for once he's staying out of freaking trouble, then he's winning there. If, say, Dominic Reyes captures the light heavyweight championship, or, you know, I don't know, Glover Teixeira captures the light heavyweight championship, guess what? They're going to be looked at as the illegitimate champion, kind of similar to Daniel Cormier, unfairly, but it is what it is, because of the fact that, you know, Jon Jones isn't the one that they beat. So, going to be really interesting. Although I'll say this: there's a big difference between Jon Jones getting suspended for PEDs and, you know, getting suspended for conduct, and Daniel Cormier winning or retaining the light heavyweight title, as opposed to Jon Jones just vacating it because he's in some weird negotiations with the UFC. But yeah, unfortunately, whether it be Daniel Cormier or whoever wins the title next, it's tough. The fan perception is what the fan perception is, and there's going to be people that say, nah, these guys are like the 94, 95 Rockets. They're not so much the 1990s Bulls. And, you know, look, Jon Jones, like him or not, is the 1990s Bulls of the UFC. I mean, he's been absolutely dominant. Is his career tainted because of some of the USADA stuff? Absolutely. But, I mean, skill-wise, stature-wise, resume-wise, definitely the greatest fighter of all time. You got to give him some respect for that, obviously. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like the UFC is going to give him that respect. And what's unfortunate, too, is he's a big star. Now, granted, is he a Conor McGregor? No, he's not. But is he still a relatively big star who's somehow gotten even bigger despite all the transgressions over the years? Yeah. So I think UFC should pay up. They obviously have the money. If you don't want to pay up like certain guys, whatever, you don't think they're worth something, let them go to Bellator, whatever. But Jon Jones, like, come on, man. Come on. Pay up. Let him fight at heavyweight. Let him do his thing. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he wants to see what the lay of the land is. You know, I'm really curious, too. Like, would he be... I don't think Jon Jones fears anybody, but I wonder if he thinks Stipe Miocic for him is a better matchup than, say, Francis Ngannou, because that's going to be the next heavyweight fight. Would he fight Francis Ngannou, a guy who can knock out pretty much anybody, including a military tank? You know, or would he hope that Stipe Miocic wins the rematch with Ngannou and then picks apart Miocic in a heavyweight super fight? Who knows? I mean, look, Daniel Cormier, while being a natural heavyweight, did come up from light heavyweight and had a lot of success against Miocic. So perhaps Jon Jones is looking at that and saying, you know what? I beat Cormier twice. I could go up to heavyweight. I could fight Miocic. He's lighter these days. you know, my reach is longer and I could probably win. Now, obviously, easier said than done when you're taking that heavyweight power and being the heavyweight GOAT, but we'll see what happens, folks. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Jon Jones will return to UFC? What the hell do you do with the light heavyweight picture? Do you do Glover Teixeira, who's won consecutive fights, and put him against Dominic Reyes, who a lot of people thought won that fight against Jon Jones? Or do you do some type of mini tournament or something? What would you do? If you're Dana White, if you're Sean Shelby, if you're these guys, if you're Mick Maynard, how would you book the light heavyweight title picture? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe and enable notifications, not just for more MMA updates, but our EA UFC 4 review is coming up very soon. Until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the fights. Please stay safe.